Ladies and gentlemen, TA Media here, and we are back with some more Riverdale news and, some concrete news, in the Riverdale world. More specifically, we are here to talk about the new news that Riverdale Season 3 will feature a flashback episode to the parents. Something people have been asking about for a long, long time, and I myself am very, very happy about it. This is, people actually want a spinoff with the past of the parents, and do I think that will still be on the table after this year? Yes, but not getting into that really. This is good for so many reasons. One, because we're finally going to get some semblance of story in the whole, Hermione, Alice, Penelope, and Mary Andrews storyline that was hinted at from season one, and you'll see what Hal was like, in high school. You'll see FP obviously, and Alice probably. Fred Andrews and FP is one of the things I'm looking most forward to going into season 3. Also, all of this other stuff is leading up to obviously the mystery that we have this season. Like I said earlier, or like I said in another video, the serpents are tied into this new big mystery apparently, which I imagine we're flashing back because the serpents were around when the parents were in high school, and this will be FP really getting into the story at this point. I imagine he'll be the head storyteller here to mirror Jughead, who's also the narrator for the series. You'll also have I think Fred Andrews will be like side by side with him, like Archie and Jughead are, and it might even be from Fred Andrews' point POV, because I would like that because one, we're basically looking at everything through Archie's POV right now, and it would be nice to just send us back in time to Fred's POV. How does he look to Jughead, or FP, his Jughead, FP, and then looks to Alice, to Hermione obviously, and how does Hiram fixture into all of this? Like I've already heard and reported on it myself that Hiram Lodge isn't actually the giant big bad for this season, unlike a lot of people think. The Legion of Doom will be a fixture for a lot of season 3. Hiram is not the big bad. He is a big bad, but he's not the big bad. This mystery and what we're going with is the big bad. Hiram, I'm really curious to see how he was, back in the day. And what just broke news-wise was that Mark Consuelos' son, Michael Consuelos, I believe, is playing his son in the flashback episode, which the episode is called. It's the 4th episode of season 3. It's called The Midnight Club. I imagine this is some kind of. I imagine this is going to flash back to the cult. I'm pretty positive. I don't know how else the parents would be involved in what's going on this season right now, and I don't think we'd be doing just the parents flashback episode if we were just trying to get to the serpent side of the story, which is obviously going to follow FP and Jughead. I believe we're doing a whole parents flashback episode, and obviously Hiram's the character is involved. So I imagine this is going to do with the cult. The cult is the big mystery for the season. Everybody, it's basically going to be everybody, even the Legion of Doom, even Hiram's Legion of Doom is going to be paired with the town to stop whatever's going on with the cult. I think Riverdale has learned from their mistakes of all the infighting and all the dilemmas that we had last season, with the serpents and uh, the core four really being split last season. I think they learned from that mistake. I think we're getting an entire united Riverdale against this mysterious, evil, what looks like to be a probably sadistic cult that is going to be ran, and Polly and Alice are going to be a part of, and Betty is going to be the front runner to stop it. I imagine this episode is flashing back to a time when they've heard of the cult, or maybe heard of something like the cult. The episode is titled "The Midnight Club," so I imagine that has relevance to something, unless it's a film. I mean I know references to the Midnight Club, but I don't imagine Riverdale would ever use any of the references I'm thinking of. So unless it's some like really older film, or some kind of reference to a different piece of television or something like that, this is going to definitely be have some fixture in the story. But talking about the character arcs in that episode and in this season, it'll be nice to see Fred Andrews and FP get something to do with each other. For anybody that doesn't remember, they've barely interacted since that big season 1 episode they had in A Lonely Place, and now it's kind of like the parents don't really interact at all. I mean, last season you had here and there a little bit. I think there was the one episode where all the parents were in the meeting with the kids, in Death Proof, where they found out about the jingle jangle that the kids did, in the episode before. Besides that, there is no real parent interaction anymore, and I think they're going to switch that up with this flashback episode. Or they could just be like, we'll give the fans one flashback episode of the parents and then move on. Like a lot of shows do that. I imagine that could be the way Riverdale goes, depending on what they got planned for the season. Unless the cult is intertwined with the parents and their story, we do know it's going to be involving Alice, but unless the other parents have some significance to the cult themselves, I don't think we'll be getting any more of them after this flashback episode. But I could be wrong. I kind of hope I'm wrong. It'd be really cool to see, I'd really like to see all the threads of the story tie into one thing this season. They tried to do that at the end of last season with Hiram paying off, Penny, the Ghoulies, and the other Black Hood or whatever. But they obviously found no way to tie that to Hal being the Black Hood, and it didn't really tie that nice in a bow anyway, with Hiram paying off the criminals. So I would like all roads to lead to one this season. Hopefully not too many roads either. And in saying that, I don't know if one episode of the flashbacks is going to suffice for telling the parents' story, which is what I hope they're not doing. I hope they're not going to try to get everything that we've hinted at with the parents' history in this episode and try to get it out of the way. I really, really don't think that one episode will do the parents' history justice at all. I'd rather have... I always thought that they should have... when the story called for it, when they had a season that was ready to delve into the parents' history, like this season is, to tie them into a current storyline, I always imagined there should be like a three-part episode arc, with the parents and the flashbacks. If you wanted to tell all the flashback story, like the entire, their high school run, I think of a three-parter would be suffice for the story itself. Obviously, you could make a whole series out of it, a whole spinoff, if you really wanted to. I don't think the show is going to do that anytime soon, or maybe at all. So I would be surprised if they, did. Maybe they are. They're only doing one flashback episode. I imagine at least a two-parter for the parents if we're getting all their stuff out of the way. At least a two-parter. I'd prefer a three-parter. I think this is just a big story that people have been waiting for 2 years now, and you need to, a year and a half, but you need to really give there needs to be a line. You know, there needs to be a good shot at what a good representation of what you want the parent story to be and how they're connecting to the present day stuff, while also getting a feel for all the characters. There's so many parents from Riverdale now that you have to. I mean, how can you not include all of them in this episode? How can you not include the Blossoms, Mayor McCoy, uh, Fred, FP, Hiram and Hermione, uh, Sheriff, Tom Keller, um, even some of the other characters' parents that we haven't seen. How can you not throw them all in there, or how can you throw them all in there and make a cohesive story out of it, while also having a cohesive story in the present that is tied to it, and it all coming together and making sense. Now, on the off chance, like it's like 1 out of 99 that I'm wrong, but on the off chance that it's not about the Cole and not about the current story, and this has way something else to do with it, like this is some kind of. Actually, you know what? There could be a other likely candidate for why this is a flashback episode. It could be the story of Alice and FP and how they were together, or got together, whatever, back in the day. They could be doing that. I know we're supposed to get a lot more FP and Alice this season, so I do see that could be the explanation. I don't really, if we're going to do a flashback episode and finally meet the parents at their younger ages, I don't want the episode to be solely on FP and Alice. I want the episode to tie into the main arc and plot, and show like maybe a little bit of the Scooby Gang that the parents were back in the day, because they're all gonna act like just like the kids, so why not have them try solving a mystery or whatever like the kids, something like that. I don't need nothing that doesn't hold any substance, because whether we like it or not, the show is about the core four, Archie, Betty, Veronica, Jughead. And I don't need the show to be about the parents. If they want to have a show about the parents, do a spinoff. To cover that little topic real quick, a spinoff would work. A spinoff would be great. The CW has a plethora of spinoffs right now, so I don't think I do think if they wanted to actually pull it off right now, they would accept. They would definitely probably green light a spinoff of the parents right now, because Riverdale is like. I know a lot of people don't see it this way because of ratings and all that crap, but right now Riverdale is CW's biggest show on the network. It's their biggest hit. It's the only one that's catching steam going into the new season. All the other all the DC shows, even the new series, they're not catching as much steam as Riverdale. So Riverdale, throwing them a spinoff would work. I don't know if it should be gone right now, because one, crossovers are impossible. The stories don't. It's almost like the stories don't. A prequel is something you save from when the show kind of ends, and I think that's what they'll do most likely. So in my opinion, what I see is you probably, if you get a show about the parents, it won't be for another, most likely 7 years tops, or I mean minimum. Tops, you probably wait another 10 years. But yeah, I'd say 6 to 7 years minimum regarding a prequel like that as a spinoff. Besides that, nothing much. Riverdale Season 3, Episode 4, The Midnight Club. It's a parents' flashback episode. Mark Consuelos' son is playing Hiram in the past. And I think this episode will be really great. The season is shaping up to look good. Uh, the beginning of last season was very good too. No matter what people say, the storyline of the Black Hood didn't end up being the greatest storyline of all time, obviously, but it started off really strong. And if you tell me those when we didn't know what was going to happen in those first, 8, 9 episodes, it was going strong. Uh, when they cut it out from its knees going forward and did the fake out is really what really damaged the storyline. This season, I don't think they'll do that. A cold storyline is something that you can draw out for 22 episodes, um, especially like the like you have to reveal the cult, you have to investigate the cult, you have to meet the characters in it, you have to save the characters that are stuck in it. There's so much story to do with this, and the characters are so colorful and so that you know uh, have so many layers that we can throw characters in and out of the storyline. We can push characters through it. We can throw them through a loop with it. You need this to work, and I think this will unite all of the stories in Riverdale and all the characters for a common, either a common enemy or a common problem, and they'll all come up with a common solution to end it. And I think that is the season 3 arc. I know a lot of people, like I said before, aren't down with you know, um, aren't down with the, dark culty storyline. I don't think it'll be dark in the sense like they're a bunch of, devil worshipping freaks or something like that. I think it'll be culty in like the whole they, eat live animals or something weird like that. Something stupid weird that the kids just scoff at. And then maybe eventually they get darker, like they start killing people or something like that. I don't know, but as of right now, the show is going. I think the show's on a good route. I think the show's knows what it's doing, is doing good. Um, yeah, and that's pretty much all it is. Let me know if you would prefer a 2, 3 parter episode of The Parents, or you're fine with the one, or you'd like a spinoff prequel of Riverdale, with the Parents, Parentdale. This is TAE Media. See y'all next time. Peace.